Hello and welcome to episode number 29 of Just Shillin', your favorite low sodium podcast. I am one of your hosts, Sean Hoffman.
And I'm your other host, Andy Bell.
I try to mess with
How
the
are you, bud?
cadence every time.
I know,
try to mess
I
with the.
know.
It's like I'm just going to say it differently every time.
How are you, my friend? How was your week? How have you been?
I've been good. I've been good. It's been hot here recently. The world as we know it has been simultaneously crumbling and hopeful at the same time. It's been I feel like we're living in a simulation. Not really. I don't want to be one of those people, but it just gets kind of like wackier and more Twilight Zone with each passing day. But I'm hopeful. Things are looking up in ways, and I'm doing good. We went to Costco the other day. That was fun. We got some new cool stuff from there. I'm still working on that stupid deck.
No.
it's getting close. It's getting close, but now it's like spun into 30 other projects. It's like God. So now I'm just trying to beat the snow. I mean, not that snow's coming anytime soon, but it's coming. But other than that, man, I'm pretty good. It's not super eventful besides hosting hikers and stuff like that. We had a new ramen shop open in town.
Nice.
I think actually our first ramen shop not first, but like the only ramen shop we have. So I'm looking forward to going there this weekend. I'm very excited about it.
I did see your photographs. I did laugh at the photographs you sent me of the decking, which is,
Yeah.
do you ever wish you'd never started something? Because I must admit, when you described the repairs that you were doing, it seemed quite localized in a very, very small area, but it now looks like you're ripping up like whole
It started
lengths
that
of
way.
the. Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah, it started that way. I was fixing the holes that the trees were growing through, and then kind of like the edge that kind of cut in around the tree. And then I was like, well, I also hate this lattice because like the top rail and the bottom there was like this wooden lattice stuff. And it was all painted this horrible red. And I'm like, well, I hate that, so I'm gonna take the lattice off. And then I'm like, well, it kind of needs to be sealed, so I should sand this all down. And if I'm taking the lattice off, I should put up some like cool wire. And so then I end up doing the whole railing and everything. And I'm like, well, now the boards don't match because the bottom is painted. I got to rip the carpet off the deck. And yes, there was carpet on the deck. I had to rip the carpet up. And then I'm like, oh my God, some of this wood is rotten. So then I just started replacing. Now it's like, God, I had a delivery of wood the other day. And so like yesterday, I took the whole day off work and I'm out there like planing it and sealing it and getting it ready to. I'm still trying to salvage as much wood as I can, but it's like, here we go. I think it's going to be done by this weekend. Like this,
Good man.
The deck. But now Madison's like, well, there's kind of like a little lower porch. She's like, well,
now you've started that. Now you've started that. Do we need this load-bearing wall? You know, can we just take that out?
Well, it's all connected because then, like, once you start working on something, then like, I don't know about everybody else's partners, but my partner tends to have this mentality of like, well, you're already touching this, and this thing is like kind of connected to it. So like, can we turn our lower porch into can we remove the metal corrugated roofing and put like clear? So it's kind of like a little lower sunroom porch. I'm like, well, it's all connected. So maybe we'll see. And it's just, she's like, well, I'm excited for that. And I'm like, let me get done with the deck first. We'll see where we go. So yeah, it's a whole. And then all the neighbors like to walk by. They're like, it's looking good. Are you getting close? And I'm like, thanks. Please go away. I would like my free time back. But other than that, man, it is nice to be able to get out and like do something during the week, especially like I work from home, obviously, as people may not know. So it's when you have those downtimes, instead of standing at the water cooler or me farting around doing God knows what when I don't have 70 projects going on, it's kind of nice to be like, I'm gonna go rip a board up. I'm gonna go do something kind of physical. So it's kind of like I'm not as sedentary as I normally would be. So it's got some pluses and minuses. I just wish I could be done now. I'm My hyperfixation is done, and I'm ready for it to be over. It's not as fun
Yeah, I'm with you,
anymore.
man. I'm with you. We got a delay on. I think I told you before. We're having some work done in the house. Having some. I'm trying to make our office into a really nice office for Lucy because her work has changed over the years, and I think I told you that she's
Mhm.
working from home awful lot more. I've got this ridiculous shed in the bottom of the garden, which is it's fine for me. I'm not precious, but I really want to give her a really nice place to work, and it's
Mhm.
do you know what I mean by it's a dump room? It's where all
Yeah,
the crap is just thrown in there because there's a bit of storage in there as well, and I've cleared all that out. The room is decorated, but we're waiting for these for the built-in desk and wardrobes and shelving and stuff to go in.
I like to
Um,
spin it and call it the staging room. It's like, oh, it's where I put things temporarily to stage them for
yeah,
where I put them away in their proper places. Yes, I
yeah,
know
that
what
would be
the dump room is.
that would work. That would work if they then progressed outside that from that room. But that's the
Yeah.
problem is it's become it's like 10, 15 years of us being here. It's just it's what was a decent sized room has now just turned into a rabbit warren that needs to be it just needed to be gutted. So that's happening at the moment. But the guys doing the work have been postponed by 4 weeks. So we're sitting with lots and lots of boxes in the house, and I keep getting the occasional grimace from Lucy, and I know she's getting frustrated with the whole thing, and I keep assuring her, "Don't worry, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Going to happen." But yeah, it's never ending though. You get to a point in the end where it's kind of like, okay, everything's done, and then you got to start all over again. Um, at the very least, with decorating, it's
Yeah.
yeah, it never ends. It never ends. What about the Costco trip? Was that the trip? Sorry, not that I'm sure a Costco trip would be particularly interesting for many people, but I'm fascinated. The photograph of the big pillows or the big
The
beanies,
pumpkin and
whatever they are. Yeah,
the
was that from
pumpkin and the
Costco?
yes, that's Costco. So are you familiar with Costco? Do you know what Costco
So
is?
so Costco is launching in the UK, so I know who they
Oh,
are.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
So I know who they are, and in fact, it's through work that I found out that we're trying to do some work with Costco in the future. I was like, oh wow, they're coming here. So yeah. We're gonna make things happen.
I
I
hope
don't
they're
even.
bringing the gas stations too, because the gas the or petrol or whatever we call it
Yeah,
um is way cheaper than like regular ones. So we only get gas from Costco's. Like I won't say only, like we try to. So we have one down the hill that we go to fill up on gas. And when we do our cross country travels, we'll actually like put Costco's on the directions to stop at on the way, even if we're not completely empty. Like we'll fill up, almost like a Tesla charger. It's like, well, we might as well stop because there's a Costco, and they have little food courts in them, and they're just big bulk store. I love them. They're so awesome. They're the
do,
best.
do you know what? I'm talking absolute rubbish. They're already here. They're already here.
They're starting to
However,
introduce sushi food places in them now. Here, oh, they're so
no,
awesome.
I'm not sure. I could be wrong, but I'm not sure if they're actually. Um, No, there are warehouses near it. Are they? They're warehouses, right? They're set up like
Yeah,
warehouses. They're not. They're not what I call a department store or anything. They're more like a.
it's like a bulk store. It's like you go in and you don't get one box of cereal, you get four, and they're all taped together. Or like, oh, I want eggs. Well, you're going to get 72 eggs. Stuff like that. You're
They
not going to get
have.
a normal size amount of anything.
They have 29 stores in the UK. I had no idea. I had no idea.
You
Well,
can also go in and buy you
in
can go buy
fairness,
a
my
100
closest.
inch TV and all sorts of stuff. It's cool.
Yeah. I mean, my closest one is 45 miles away in Coventry. So I'm not. It wouldn't be something that I'd have spotted and said, "Hey, they're there." Yeah, they're already here, man. So yes, I might on a quiet day, I might treat myself and head up north and have a
You
Costco
should
trip all by myself.
you should take Lucy. No, I think Lucy would love it. I think she would. There is I've never seen Madison's eyes. Not to say that our partners are exactly the same, but I've never seen Madison's eyes light up quite like it does. Like I wish she looked at me like she looks at Costco. Like just and everything that Costco provides is all the stuff that I can't. It's got pizza, it's got milkshakes, it's got giant couches and everything in between. It's got poke bowls that could serve 8 people and she'll eat it by herself over the course of 2 days. It's an amazing place. It's magical. It's a money pit if you're not careful. You walk in, you're like, oh, this looks cool. Like, you know what's better? Like, it's not somewhere to go to like try new things because it's like, oh, let's
Yeah.
try this. You're not trying one, you're trying like 100 of them. So you better like it. But it's a cool place. I like it. I love their cheap gas. And yeah, it's a cool place. Yes, and that is where. So those, if you're familiar with Squishmallows, which I think I talked about last time,
Yes.
they sell a lot of those there. That's where I got that giant Chewbacca one, that giant Grogu one, and that's where I took that photo, imitating our buddy Strut with because that's where he got them of the
Right.
pumpkin. It's not a Squishmallow, but they're like big decorative pillows that are. And so I took the ghost and the pumpkin and took the photo from there. And that's also where I got those Mandalorian chairs. We actually, the more I think about it, I think a lot of our stuff has come from Costco.
I don't see why not. I mean, we should probably not maybe put the pod on pause for a bit so we can talk about this because they they sell garden buildings.
Yeah,
They sell everything.
they sell
Absolutely
carports.
everything.
You can buy like Apple computers in there. You can buy TVs, security systems, alcohol, food. They even have like ours have an optometrist in them. Um, like you go
Wow.
get your eyes checked. They have
Yeah,
food
yeah, yeah, yeah,
courts.
yeah.
You could buy a whole children's playground swing set thing. It's
Do you know what,
tires.
my
Ours have
friend?
tires in
I
them.
might.
Yeah.
This might be my date night with my next date night with Lucy. We might venture to Costco.
Man,
Oh, it's
I'm so
great.
excited. We should have a podcast, a
Oh,
bonus
look at
podcast.
the garden tools are
Oh,
amazing.
oh yeah, dude.
Absolutely amazing.
I'm getting goosebumps at just the idea of you experiencing Costco for the first time. It's like talking to somebody
You
about
can
like, oh, I've never seen Star Wars. It's like I am so excited to talk to you about this after your first visit. This is going to be amazing.
I can't believe what these guys sell. I can get a jackhammer. Oh god. Look at
and
this.
and in store is also different than online. So some stuff online will be different than in store. So some stuff is in store exclusives only. And the best part is so like if you guys like wine or liquor or any stuff like that, they also sell the bulk versions of those. So like you can get the most obscenely sized bottle of some of your favorite alcohols. You can buy it's just nuts. It's nuts. Rotisserie chickens. I hope yours have the rotisserie chickens because those are the best. Our cats lose their minds when we come in with one. It's dude, we have to have a bonus episode talking just about Costco when you go. It is
Oh, they got an 18-year-old gold signature whiskey here. That's usually maybe an 80-90 pound bottle of whiskey. 60 quid. Oh, I'm going definitely.
what are those
Goodness me.
what are those British cookies? I don't know if they're British, but I got them at my hotel when I was there. They're like Biscoff. Are those British? I don't know what those are. Who makes those?
Oh, Biscoff. I got a feeling that they're either French or Dutch, I think. Or they could be even Italian. Hang on. That's not very good.
Uh, Though they're not from here. I don't know where they're from, but they sell. I thought of my hotel in London when I was at Costco because they
They're
sell like
they're
a
they're
hundred
very
pack of those things.
yeah, they're very caramel, aren't they? The caramel based.
They have
I'm
like
just
the
trying to
cookie
find that.
ones, the wafery looking ones, but they also have ones that are just like just the biscuit, like that's by itself. Uh, and they had like a huge bulk pack of those. I'm like, oh man, I remember my hotel would give me those when I was in London.
Yeah.
Now they have them at Costco. Dude, Costco's great.
Belgian.
Belgian.
Belgian. They're Belgian biscuits. There you go. They're Belgian. Um In fact, they were invented in 1932 by a Belgian baker named Jan Boon Sr. There you go.
Nice.
Mm.
I'm very excited for you guys to go to Costco. Please keep me updated. Please
Yeah, of
keep the
course I will.
pod
No,
updated.
I'll take photos. I might even do some interviews while I'm out there.
Record, get some reactions. I'll edit them into the podcast, and we will have a special bonus episode. Like,
That's excellent.
Madison will actually listen to our episodes again. I guarantee it. She'll probably listen to this one because I'm talking about Costco. She could probably hear me. She's probably outside my door, like debating whether she should be on the pod for once.
Oh, that's cool. Anything else in your week, mate?
No, that's it.
That's enough. It's enough. It's a good week.
It is. It is a good week.
So it's been a bit. It's been an up and downer this week over here. It's been really. I'll start with the bad because it's been bizarre. So the work stuff is we're getting close to those deadlines I was telling you about a while ago.
Yeah.
And the pressure is on. Hence the reason why we're recording a day late. The spending an awful lot of my working week at the moment up late talking to the folks across, the HQ across the pond, and it's been very, very, very rare that I've been going to bed much before midnight this last week or so. So hasn't been fun. And then a certain bunch of folk in the UK are trying to turn our country to rat shit. I'm sure you guys know or have heard that we've been having some riots from some very nasty, extreme right. I'm not going to mince my words. They're fascists and racists that have used a very, very sad situation, a murder of three very, very young girls, to create a false narrative that it was conducted by someone that was seeking asylum in the UK. And that has set off a bunch of cells or a collection of far right supporters that have decided to riot. I mean, it's a bit stupid in itself. It's like,
yeah,
you're destroying. You're talking about, your mantra is we want to take our country back. Ban immigration. Don't let people. We don't believe in diversity. We don't want these people on our in our towns and cities, and yet they go out and destroy their towns and cities, which kind of seems a little bit counterintuitive for anyone with one brain cell. But yeah, it's been a bit scary, if I'm perfectly honest with you, mate. Last weekend in particular, we saw. Sorry, taking a step back just to explain the situation. Yeah, so little town up north, a very troubled young 17-year-old boy took a knife to a bunch of schoolgirls, young junior school children that were at a Taylor Swift dance club, I believe. Or Taylor, because it's summer over here at the moment. Everyone's at home. All the kids are at home. And and most folks send their kids off to like a day camp or a day club, and they do various things to keep the kids preoccupied, because when you're that age, keeping them occupied is quite hard. And so, just a bunch of very, very innocent, beautiful young girls found themselves up against this guy, very angry teenager that took a knife to them, and it's really, really gutting that and heart-wrenching that three of these girls died. And then you saw social media basically snowball the situation with no facts whatsoever. Facts whatsoever. And yeah, basically some bright spark started a rumor, which again snowballed, that this boy who was born in the UK and was a UK citizen was in fact an immigrant looking to try to become a UK citizen. And that is not the case at all. As I said, it was a complete falsehood, and it was proved relatively quickly as being a complete falsehood. But by then, all rhyme or reason had gone out the window. They didn't want to hear the narrative. They didn't want to hear about the truth, and they decided to kick off anyway. And so we've seen the most despicable, and it has not made me. I'm embarrassed um, to say that this happened in my country. And what has been seen in the last 24 hours kind of have given me a little bit of faith that
Mhm.
it is very, very much the minority making life hard for everyone else. So, yeah, they've been targeting mosques. They've been targeting anyone that may well be a professional associated with the immigration service within
Mhm.
the UK. It's got that bad. They've been targeting mosques. They've been targeting people of, particularly of Middle Eastern descent, but it's also been other countries and nationalities and uh, and skin colors as well. And it's been really fucking atrocious. Bearing in mind that an awful lot of what is the UK is based on immigrants. I mean, everyone talks about
Mhm.
Great Britain being one of the oldest imperial ex-imperial countries of the world. But don't forget, the majority um, of English people are French. I mean, and an awful lot of the French are Nordic. So
Mhm.
where an awful lot of Normandy, which is where the it was the, which is when Harold came over. No, it wasn't Harold. William the Conqueror came over and took out Harold, which was the last of the Anglo-Saxon
Mhm.
kings in the UK. We are, while we may have, there may be this perception of the UK being this extremely old country, which it is. It does. You can only go back. Prior to it, what? Sorry, after 1066, we became a very very different country.
Mhm.
Anyway, I'm really waffling on and trying to avoid the subject, which has left me with an
People were
awful lot of
just
distaste.
a certain
And they're just
a
being
certain group
assholes.
of
They're just
people
being
were already
assholes.
looking for a reason. It's like
Yeah,
they've wanted to
exactly.
do stuff like this, that now they just have a reason to get more people angry and to do something
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah,
It's
it's been pretty disgusting, mate. It really is disgusting. And um anyway, the good, and at times like that, the natural response that I had, which was, I want my girls home, I want to lock the door, and I want to switch the lights off and just hibernate until it
Mhm.
all goes
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
Um but that in reality, that's not particularly realistic,
Mhm.
despite the desire to fly, or for flight. Sorry. Um, and so that's been going on. The good news is that there were expectations of further violence this week, but in many, many, many cases and many, many cities across the UK, um, normal people, um, inclusive people, people that realize that we live in a multicultural society, and those cultures benefit this country, have got together and have gone out on the streets as well, and with unity have pretty much, especially last night, pushed back on these people and outnumbered them, which is
Nice.
the most marvelous thing. There are rumors that there could be more violence to come. I hope not. I really do hope not. I hope um, the emergency services and the police in particular have kind of got a handle, and they've got the intelligence. Well, I mean intelligence. I
Mhm.
mean the counterintelligence, to be able to react to this quicker than perhaps they did last weekend.
Well,
So
I'm glad that
that's been a bummer, man. Sorry.
I'm just glad that we live in a time where people are starting to take this stuff seriously. So it's
Yeah.
not able to fester and have failed attempts or whatever because everybody's naive and optimistic that it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Now, I feel like we are in that time where a threat is a credible threat and people take it very seriously, and that is a bright light in some ways to
Yeah.
prevent things from getting out of hand. And
Yeah. I mean, if
that's
there's one thing that's come out of this, and you saw the same thing around the Black Lives Matter movement as well. Is there are there are stories of amazing solidarity going on at the moment.
yeah.
Um, and what breaks my heart the most, mate, is that the parents of these 3 kids can't really properly grieve.
Yeah.
They've lost their children. It's the worst thing I can ever think would happen to a parent. You lose your child. It's always it's almost like, it's the rules are I go before my kids. So the idea that they've lost these kids, and in such a horrible way, is enough in itself. And now they've got this bullshit going on that
Mhm.
supposedly has happened in their children's name. The parents are saying, this is nothing to do with my child. Don't you dare let this be her legacy.
Yeah.
Um, it's yeah, it makes my blood boil, mate. But on the plus side, I had a birthday last weekend, and it was great. It was really really good. Um, we talked a little bit about it last week, and I joined a podcast when I got back from my evening celebrations that I'm sure we'll talk about later on as well, very very quickly. But it was really lovely. Both the girls came home for the weekend, and I had every intention just to mooch about, maybe some nice, get some nice Asian food in, um, and have a few beers and maybe watch a little bit of the Olympics or just chew the fat and have a bit of a laugh. Maybe take in a movie. And they said, no, we've got something organised for you, Dad. So they took me out to there's a new bougie little darts club. So if you imagine darts, as in a
Yeah.
dart ball.
Yeah.
Right, a dartboard. You see them in most bars, right? They're in bars, and well, this is like a darts club in that it's almost like going to I don't know, a private bowling alley where you get your own private lane. So you get your own little bougie little room, and in that room is a dartboard. Lo and behold, but it's all electronic and everything, electronic scoring, and you can play different games. You don't have to play the classic darts or anything. And it's a really, really good laugh. Table service, the whole thing, and
Nice.
three or four bottles of fizz later on. We rolled out, grabbed some dinner, um, and got a cab home. And it was really simple, but it was a really, really good evening. And the fact that the girls organised it in advance and everything was just nice that they had a plan. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was really, really good. And then I got back from that, and we'll talk a little bit about it. But you were recording with two of our buddies, and um,
Stormed
I
the
wouldn't,
gates.
I wouldn't say I was, I wouldn't say I was well oiled, but I was a little bit merry, and
Yeah.
yeah, I came on the pod for about 30 seconds or so. Although in reality, I was actually listening for quite a while. But as far as everyone else is concerned, yeah, I just stormed the gates for about 30 seconds or so. But yeah, but that's been my week. So, like I said, real ups and downs, mate. It's been so bizarre, so bizarre.
Well, speaking
Yeah,
speaking of speaking of your birthday, I mean, I feel like before when we talked about it before the show, like I gotta make a
yeah.
segue into, I did get you a birthday gift, and we've discussed like, okay, do you want to know what it is? Do you not want to know? Do you want to wait? And so we've just kind of decided like, I'm gonna tell you what it is because I don't want you to buy it because then it'll be like, oh, I got
Okay.
you that thing you've already bought. So without further ado, I'm gonna share with you what you got for your birthday, but you don't get it yet. You get it whenever we see each other again.
Get it for being a good boy.
You've been
Only if you're good.
yes, only if you're good. So you better watch it. You better. All right. So I had the Ahsoka comic in there too because it's all good fun.
Ah, legend. Thank you.
But that's a just because I got one, so you got to go. So the first item is I'm pretty sure they kicked it the whole way here, the U.S. Postal Service. So I hope you're not like Kev or Buddy Kev and want to keep it in the container because the container is fucked. But so the first item is let me make sure
Oh, dude.
it
Oh
is the
man.
it is the Star Wars Monster Mayhem Monster Mashups Chewbacca bobblehead that you asked me specifically about a couple weeks ago. To keep my eye out for it. But yeah, this box is thrashed. I think they kicked it the
Oh
whole way here,
man,
but
I love those. I saw them I told you I saw them at Chris's, and I'd never seen them before. Oh, he's beautiful. He's
So
absolutely.
I actually shared with Ed and Chris was like, "Oh, I got that too," and we were all talking about him before you
Yeah,
got
yeah,
on
yeah,
here.
yeah. He's got the whole lineup. He's got the whole, and they look wicked. But I saw the Chewbacca one. And I thought I've got to get that. I've got to get that. And you try and get them in the UK, and you just can't get them anywhere. So thank you so much.
Yeah,
That is
I
awesome.
think I
That
think
is
I
absolutely
think there
awesome.
is. I think there's one or two that Chris was mentioning that he's like missing one or two of them, and
Right,
and he's like, it's like obviously you can get it on eBay, but I know he's big on the hunt, so
right.
I'm excited to hear how those adventures go at the toy fairs and stuff. And then the
Oh
other
yeah, yeah,
item,
yeah.
this is the one I'm actually like excited about. Like I hope we don't already have it, and if you do, who cares? No, you have two. So I don't think I gotta unwrap it. Here, I'll get some ASMR in here. All right. I don't want to do predictions because all that does is lead to disappointment. So I'm just gonna all right.
Go on.
The second and final item is I'm
Dude.
teasing him on the camera. Like I'm barely lifting and then pulling it back down again.
No way. No, 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 no. You got a carded one. You got a carded one. Oh, bless your soul, mate. Mate.
So what I'm showing him is similar to his flat top afro gray Chewbacca knockoff bounty hunter. This is a carded Galaxy Empire bootleg Chewbacca in he is also gray.
Oh, dude.
He is also gray, and he is in the bubble with his ridiculous gun and his gray fur with
Look
the Galaxy
at that.
Empire.
He is beautiful.
Yeah, so
Look at that.
Nothing on the back because it's
Nothing on the back. Nothing on the back because it's a knockoff.
Yep, and he is
dude.
He's ready to hang out with his other bootleg buddies.
That is awesome.
And his eyes are not
they
great.
boss-eyed. Great, fantastic.
Not as bad as that one, but I don't know if I can get it to focus on him.
Look at the size of those pupils. We're gonna have to take photographs and stick them on the website.
I will do that for sure. If I had to kind of like make it compatible with audio, it looks like he's going, oh, that's kind of the face he's making with his.
Do you know what? You guys are so cool. Kev, our buddy Kev, sent me something sent me something I'm going to show you now. He sent me a note to say I saw this and immediately thought of you. But he also put a condition to it, which was if I see pictures of this with the packaging destroyed, we can no longer be friends. Which is funny in the context of what I'm about to say. Anyway, he got me a vintage Chewbacca cake candle. So it's a birthday cake candle.
Oh, look at that.
It is magnificent. So thank you, Kev. It is absolutely magnificent. And
he looks kind of fabulous in that candle. Like
he does. I mean, look at that big old bushy beard. Check that out.
Looks like a huge Chewbacca handlebar mustache.
Yeah,
like that is.
It's like he's just done a complete turn, and it's like because I'm worth it. You know?
Yeah, it's like like a hair conditioner commercial.
Exactly. He's absolutely beautiful. Anyway, so Lucy took one look at it and said, "Oh, that's amazing. We can stick it on the cake. We can stick it on your cake." I said, A, it's an antique, and B, what Kev wrote in his note, he actually means that. I send him up the wall. He climbs the wall every time we go somewhere, and I start ripping out open packaging and everything. And his teeth grind. I promise you, I'm not joking. So no, Kev, thank you very much, and I promise you, it will stay.
How did she respond when you said that? I would love that. I would like. I would love to see Lucy's face when you were like, "It's an antique,"
Oh, she's
and
sad.
no,
She's had over 30 years of me, so she just looks at me and then just accepts it and walks on. It's like, yeah, okay, okay,
she said, "Of course it
yeah,
is, of
yeah,
course."
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. No, she's used to me, mate. She's used to me. Um, oh, thank you so much. Thank you, mate.
Yeah,
That's really, really didn't expect, mate. I didn't. It's not a You get to a certain age where they don't become special anymore. So I wasn't expecting any of that at all. So thank you very much indeed. Thank
yeah.
you.
You got to add to the bootleg Chewbacca collection, man. That's like not a collection. Sorry,
Oh,
you're
do you
not
know what?
collecting.
I know, I know, I know. Well, it's not that it's bootleg. Bootleg at the moment is my bootleg at the moment is my. I find it I find it brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But it's also the quirky stuff, rather than the gotta get them all, kind of black series. It's also the quirky stuff, like that Chewy, like that Monster Mash
Yeah,
Chewy. I love that stuff. So yeah, no, thank you very much indeed. It's
yeah.
completely up my alley. Completely up my alley. Couple of things before we go on to news and stuff. Couple of corrections, or sorry, correcting myself rather than mistakes I made. Um, Last week on the pod was we were talking about two things. First of all, was we were talking about trailers I'd seen, and I'd seen the trailer for Strange New Worlds, Star Trek Strange New Worlds. But when I listened to the pod back, I always listen every now and again to find out how we sound or to work out how we sound. I said Brave New Worlds, and of course, Brave New World is an Aldous Huxley book from quite a
And
few
Captain
years ago.
America.
I did make. Oh, of course it is. Yeah, yeah. But I did, of course, mean Strange New Worlds, not Brave New Worlds. And the other one was we were talking about interest waning between seasons of programs. So
Mhm.
between seasons, when there's such a protracted time between one season and the next, my interest or my enthusiasm for the next series somewhat drops off. And of course, I
Mhm.
didn't mean Rings of Power; I meant Wheel of Time. No
Mm.
one would have noticed. They probably thought I was talking about, of course, the Lord of the Rings stuff. I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about Wheel of Time, um, which I really enjoyed the first season, but it was so long for the second season to turn up. I kind of lost interest, and I haven't seen it yet. But it's neither here nor there. But for my own sanity, I just wanted to correct myself on that one. And the last thing I was going to talk about is something I've discovered this week, and you'll roll your eyes. You'll roll your eyes and say, "Andy, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about." Have you do you know what tactical patches are?
Yeah.
Tactical
Of
patches, right?
of
Okay,
course,
fine.
Andy. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right. Okay. So I am. I don't know. I had a day sorting out the house and putting everything in boxes so that we could get this room done for Lucy and everything. I came across. I was given a new bag from work, a really really great rucksack, which is going to be really convenient for Japan because it travels small, but it
Mhm.
expands big, but it's still quite sturdy. It's got the big old
Yeah.
straps on it, so it's a really really comfortable and brand new rucksack. And on the back of it is a patch that comes off, obviously with Velcro back and everything. And I said, well,
Yep.
I'm not going to wear that because it's a company branded patch. It's like I'm damned if I'm going to wear that. I'll go and look for some. My God, I've fallen down a rabbit hole of tactical patches.
Oh yeah.
Especially the rubber ones. I've left it in. I should have brought it to the shed, but I've left it down in the house. But these PVC rubber
Mhm.
tactical patches that you put on your hat, and anyway,
Yep.
I've started. I wouldn't say I've started collecting, but I bought one. It turned up. I thought, oh, that can replace the work one. That'll look quite good because it's Star Warsy and a little bit. It's not. It's not. It's a little bit.
It's not too much. It's right. It's
No,
just the
well,
right amount.
it's a skull. It's a skull. Actually, it's a skull. It's quite a well known um, fan art cartoon of a skull with a pilot's helmet on it.
Mm.
Um,
Oh, gotcha.
and it's but it's made out of, rather than it being obviously embroidered, it's made out of this PVC stuff, and it's it's really sharp. It's really, really good, and I really, really like it. So I keep
Yeah.
buying them now. I keep finding them and thinking because they're removable, I
Mhm.
can rip one off one day and put another one on another day, and then rip one off another day and put another one on. It's like I've discovered fire, mate. And I know it's simple. The simple things in life these days make me happy. But I've
It's
fallen
like
down the rabbit hole of buying tactical
nerd
packs.
jewelry. It's like you found your nerd
Yeah,
jewelry.
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I have a couple hats that I have. So that's how I know those because I have like the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I can rip one off and put a different one on. It is for people who are interested in this. It is a very make sure if you are new to it for people who are new to it, make sure you look at the places that are selling them, especially if they're like making them custom, because some of them so they come from like a tactical like especially over here it's a lot very tactical guns, tactical
Oh right,
equipment,
okay,
yada yada yada. So people will wear them on
okay.
like their vests and stuff. And so some of those companies are shit bags. So if there's a company that you're looking at, it's like, oh, these are kind of neat. And also, if there's like, if you're not really sure what something means, I would make sure to look it up because some of those are the companies that sell some of those alt right dudes that you were talking about a little bit ago. That's also where they get some of those things. So just make
Okay.
sure,
No, no.
just
Yeah,
yeah.
I think this is a yeah. I think this is a. I mean, it was a Amazon
If they're selling if they're selling
an
skulls with
Amazon
the
marketplace
rope,
seller. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
that's fine. But I know there's
yeah,
some companies that are like, whoa, oh, we're gonna have the Punisher logo with whatever
yeah, 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 yeah.
messaging we
Okay,
have. But
okay.
but yeah, I
No,
do
I
like
just,
them.
I
They are
just, I,
cool. They are cool
I
though.
just found it. I just found it fascinating because I know that I'm in awe of people like Catherine, for example. She's got that denim jacket that she,
Yeah.
which is her con jacket with all of the patches on and everything. And I'm thinking,
Mhm.
well, A, it looks good on you, and B, don't look. There are some things that just aren't a good look for a man in his early 50s. They're just not. It's not a good look, and unfortunately, that's one of those good looks. And I thought, I'd love a bit of that. And then I hear, I listen to you guys talking about some of the pins that you collect and stuff like that,
Mhm.
and that doesn't hasn't really appealed to me. But this, yeah, I honestly, like I said, I've discovered fire for myself. It's a revelation. Anyway, so that's been my week, mate.
Oh yeah.
Birthday, yay! Work,
Yay.
boo!
Mhm.
Rioting, really boo! And discovering tactical patches.
That's just middle of the road, no yay or boo. Just flat line in the middle.
Patches.
Yeah.
God, 40 minutes and we haven't even talked about anything yet. Check
We'll
us
get there.
out.
I got nothing. What am I gonna do? Go work on my deck? I got nothing better to do.
News. What have you picked up in the news this week?
One of the U.S. gymnastics guys who won gold. He's also really good at Rocket League. Which is a game that I used to play obsessively, uh, which is car soccer for those who don't know. Um,
Yeah.
that's that's fine. I think there was also that Jude Law article that I've already forgot what he talked about, but it just talks about Skeleton Crew, and I'm sure everybody's read it. If you want to talk about it,
We talked about that last week, mate.
did we? Did we? No,
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what's going on in the news. I spend most of my time outside, getting sawdust in my eyes.
I'm
What have
decking.
you what have you heard in the
Well,
news?
ironically, I've cheated a little bit in that. The only thing I heard during the week was that Star Wars Outlaws, the new game that's coming out at the end of. Are we in August yet? Yeah, end of this
Very
month. God,
excited.
excited about that. They've announced two DLC packs. One coming out, I believe, in the autumn time frame, and one coming out or the fall time frame. One coming out in early next year. The first, I don't know the names of them, but the first featuring Lando as a character within the story of that first DLC, and the second being Hondo Inaka. I'm excited
Ooh,
for both. I'm excited for both, especially Hondo actually. Although the
that
Lando stuff
reminds
is
me.
appealing. Oh,
I've
sorry.
been trying to remember to ask you about this for like a month and a half now, but I don't take notes. So good thing you talk about stuff because this reminds me. Do you think like not that I don't want to steal the Scruffy's thing and I don't want to do predictions, but do you think Hondo Ohnaka is going to show up in Skeleton Crew? Because I do.
I hope so. It's the right
with the whole pirate thing.
Oh, with Chumpy that with the guy that
just its connection to pirates and stuff, and I'm like,
the guy
oh my
that's
god, are we gonna get it?
Yeah, isn't the bad guy the pirate that used to work for that Moss man that was that Moss pirate in season 3? Yeah, no, you could be right. But also, I think he's the kind of character as well that would be well received for a show that's targeted at younger audience. He's a
I'm about to say that voice actor. I always forget his name. He is in every kid's show from like my
yeah. But
like,
he's awesome, and he's a swashbuckling bugger. He's up to skullduggery. You know, he's yeah. No, I could see that actually. I really like that.
I mean, they've already got the live action look because they have him in Galaxy's Edge in the Millennium Falcon ride. So it's like it's not like it's hard to make him there.
I was going to say, isn't I've never done it, but isn't there? There's an animatronic Hondo, isn't there, when you walk through the ride? But actually, there's isn't there a made up actor as well on the VDU? God, what year are we in? On the screens that are in the don't laugh at me. On the screens that are in the ride as well, you see live action, true live action Hondo. I think
I could be wrong. I don't remember about the having VD thing, but
you.
I do know that there's an animatronic one on the Millennium Falcon ride, Smuggler's Run, and he's all moving.
Yeah.
And it's like, they got it. I'm not one who's like oh, got to keep the same voice actor. Like I'm not that kind of person. But with Hondo, I feel like that is the voice is so much the character. I'm like, I do hope that like they would keep him. What is his name? Hondo Ohnaka voice. Jim Cummings.
Yeah. Oh, they do. They do. They have an actor that played that plays the video sections of that ride. Number one, and number two, that sometimes that live actor actually goes outside in the park itself as well. So there you go. They do have one. Yeah, looks like it. Looks like it.
Cool. But yeah, I hope he's in it. I think that'd be so. Like, I'm not a big cameo. Like, oh look, it's people from the bar in A New Hope. Neat. Like, I'm not that kind of person. Like, oh, I love cameo wars. But I think that would be one where it's like Hondo Ohnaka in live action, just because it's so like inconsequential, and I just like that character, especially in a kid's show. I think that'd be cool. But anyways, I didn't mean to derail that whole thing. I've just been trying to remember.
No, it's fine.
For weeks.
No, it's fine. I'm going to send you the picture now that I found. But yeah, they've got pictures of him walking around the place. So that was that. Sorry, that's the only news I picked up apart from this morning, and this is my cheap part. I noticed on. Yeah, I jumped into X. I noticed on X that Rick was touting a pretty credible rumor that suggested that we might get a trailer for Skeleton Crew tomorrow.
Oh yeah, at D23 for sure, guarantee it.
Oh, is it on now?
No, I'm just saying. I bet. No. I am using my. I'm not connected to anything. I'm going with my gut intuition to speak positively and affirmatively. Like, oh, yes, we are absolutely going to get one of those.
No. I mean, is D23 on now? Has it already started?
I think it's. I just typed.
Well, it starts tomorrow.
In there. I'm an idiot.
Sorry, you type what?
D24. I was going to make a D24 joke, and I actually typed D24.com in. I was like, well, I don't know why.
Excellent.
It starts tomorrow. Today's probably a preview day or something, but
okay.
But yeah, I think with it being so kid focused, I think that's why it's going to be D23. Yeah,
that makes sense. That really, really makes sense. Sorry, I'm going back to your previous point about. I never even thought about Hondo. That does make sense because he was a comedic element to the. He was, a comedic element to the whole thing. No, that's really cool. I like that. I like that a lot. So, how have you? I've just sent you the pic I found, by the way. Um, where are we? Let's go back to business, shall we? So, if we don't have any more news, um, we were going to talk a little bit about something that we're going to watch at the same time or watch together and then talk about it this week. So if we leave all of that stuff to the end, what have you been watching? Apart from that, what have you been watching, listening, and reading this week?
So I haven't been reading anything. Been watching a lot of YouTube recently. I did watch. I did watch. Trying to. I don't want to get to those ones yet. I'm thinking a lot of time. I've been listening to. I watched Time Bandits. I watched the first episode.
Yeah,
But we can save that for when you talk
yeah.
about it.
Let's save that because we did. We're going to explain a certain
What
change in
happened?
tactic,
Yeah, we have to
W-
explain what happens.
and we'll do that later on. We'll do that later on.
Yeah. What else? I'm trying to think. I'm gonna remember something as you're talking, but other than that, I think it's been a lot of YouTube, with some of the cool stuff coming out. I watched a little bit of the Olympics, mostly highlights. And I've been watching a lot of memes on Instagram, and I really should stop. I should really get off of there, but it's so fun. And I apologize to anybody who listens to the podcast that I just constantly send memes to. Um, it's probably good that you're not on there because I'd be sending you stuff all day long. But if you're somebody who listens to the podcast and you'd like me to send you memes, let me know. I can send you funny memes that are tailored to your interests all day long. Like I send Catherine cat videos, funny cat videos all the time. Um, so yeah, that's I've been spending way too much time on there. I saw
That's fair.
one thing. It's not really what I watch. It's kind of what I watched. We do this like music on the beach thing here. I've been going to that every Thursday tonight, where out on the lake they have like a hotel, like a little hotel place has free come sit on the beach in your lawn chairs, and they have a band out there playing different types of music every week. I've been doing that, and it's a lot of fun.
Nice,
So you just sit there, watch the sunset,
nice.
and you get to hang out, and we ride our bikes there, and we get a little enhanced for the experience.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
last time we went to Costco and we got these like
Mm.
packages of raw salmon slices. I don't know what you call them, but they're like fancy salmon where they're all like flavored differently. And you took some cream cheese and a little cooler backpack and rode our bikes out there. Then ate like cream cheese on crackers with salmon and
Oh,
just
nice. That's
had a good old
delightful.
had a good old time.
Nice, nice.
Couldn't
I'm quite
couldn't tell you
jealous
what
of
they
that, actually.
couldn't tell you what music they played, but it was a good time.
It's not the point, it's the vibe really more than anything else, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the fact you're relaxing and the fact that it's a work night as well. That's fantastic. I'd love to do that.
Yep.
Love to do that. So,
How about you?
yeah, so because of work, unfortunately, my a lot of things have been on hold. So the stuff I was watching, so Cobra Kai, The Ones Who Lived, and obviously our ongoing saga with Scrubs, that is being put on hold, or was put on hold this week because work's just been mental. I had every endeavor to start the Umbrella Academy. That's been put on hold. That hasn't happened yet, and I'm already seeing spoilers on online around the finale because it's the last and final season. So I've got to try and avoid that stuff as best I can. And of course, um, being is it on Netflix? Yeah, Netflix. I think it is. Or is it Prime? I can't remember. Anyway, all of the episodes have been dumped in one go, which is
Yeah.
like, oh no, 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 no. So I'm going to have to try my best to kind of avoid that because I do like the Umbrella Academy an awful lot, despite the fact it is one of those series that has the seasons are massively spaced apart.
Do you ever
And
wonder
as a result,
why they still do that? Do you ever wonder why they still just do a big dump when it seems so many people have moved away from it? Like, why are they
I don't
still
know, man.
beholden to that?
Don't know,
Interesting.
man. No, no idea at all. I'm trying to work that out. I mean, I've been trying to work out why they do it, but also what I'd prefer. We talked a little bit about it last week, didn't we?
Mhm.
Um, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. And then, of course, I did commit myself to watching the Snyder cut of Rebel Moon. That unfortunately is also on the back burner as we speak at this moment in time, but it will happen. It's a scientific experiment, and it will happen. However, there was some things that I did watch. The first thing was as soon as August the 1st came about, we got our Apple TV back. Um,
Nice.
Great, got Apple TV back, and the first thing I did because our buddy Turbo, thank you Turbo. This is the first of many comments for this evening, or many thanks to you this evening. Our buddy Turbo recommend. You might remember me talking about a program or a series I like called Silo, and then you
Yep.
recommended um, Severance, and then he recommended Dark Matter because I was really getting into the sci-fi and the the darker sci-fi stuff that Apple seems to do really well. And then obviously on top of that there were other things as well. Anyway, point being is um, he recommended this show and I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I was really worried about it because it is quite harrowing in place at times and very desperate and very prolonged. So if you remember the story, very quickly, I'll remind you, it's a scientist who has able to manipulate the multiverse,
Mhm.
and for various reasons, a bad version of him manipulates the multiverse to and basically messes it up for an awful lot of other um, of the same guy in other in other universes as well. It's a harrowing story about this guy trying to get home, but it concludes so satisfactorily. It really does. Now, I don't know whether they're planning a season two or not. It's one of those. It's one of those series that I kind of wish they won't. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sorry, I
Yeah.
kind of hope they don't
Yeah.
because it ended so very satisfactorily and really tied up. But it did obviously leave lots and lots of questions about other people that were impacted by this, by the cause of events that were happened. And so, is there a possibility of a season two? Yeah, I guess it would make sense, but I hope they don't, if you like, just extend the story
Yeah.
that they
You don't
told with
always need
more
more.
drama.
Yeah.
Yeah, just with more drama and more bad luck happening to the same person, because I think that person's story was wrapped up really beautifully. But I really
Mhm.
enjoyed that, so thank you, Turbo. And we talked a couple of times about just how harrowing it is halfway through the season because everything is so very desperate. It's really well played. And it's played by the chap that I forgot his name. Plays a younger version of Uncle Owen. I can't remember the guy's name now. Anyway, um, that was good. Um, I've been listening to What Dreams Are Made Of, and the reason why I've been listening to them is they've come back and they've got a new season and they're looking at these are the two guys that are really into their prop collecting
Mhm.
with ridiculous amounts of disposable money. And I've been listening to them and catching up on a few of their episodes recently, which I found interesting. Mainly to find out recently there was a heritage auction, and they sold a Y wing, a an authentic or a real um,
Gold
Y
leader
wing
from A New
model
Hope.
that was used in A New Hope, and it sold for I think it was 1.4 million, something like along those lines. And I wondered if it was one of these guys because they're avid collectors of that. And in fact, one of them was the guy that last year bought the X-wing, the Hero X-wing that was
Yep.
used for Red 3, 4, and 5. I think it was because they just
Yep.
changed the decals on it while they're filming. But it wasn't him in the end. But yeah, it's interesting stuff. Different world though, man. Different world. Way too much money. And then what I've been listening to. So what else I've been listening to? I hinted a little bit about earlier on. I've been listening to you and our buddies Ed and
You're welcome.
Chris talk about talk about your love and your desire for model making. Three very, very different perspectives. You're approaching it from strictly a model, and a larger scale, shall we say. Ed's coming it from the wargaming side of things, and of course, Chris is coming in it from the scratch building stuff and the expertise he's showing in that area. And I found listening to you guys absolutely fascinating. And yeah, I mean, the secret's out of the bag now. I did kind of I was the idea was I was going to join you guys while you were paused, um, and just so that I could, we could say hi and raise a glass to each other for my birthday. But yeah, I stayed on and listened. And Ed put his foot in it to try and ask me a question halfway through the second quarter. Anyway, it
He
was
wanted he
it
wanted
was
you to
good.
feel included.
Yeah, I know. No, bless him. But I thought it was really, really good, and I think you guys have really got something there. I found it so fascinating and so interesting, and it got me thinking about a few things, about how much I miss the creative side of me, and maybe I should get back into it again. I used to, yeah,
Do
you know
it.
this already. Well, I used to. The reason why I don't is it because it used to be work for me. So I'm actually, despite what I do now for a living, I'm a qualified product designer, and I was, designing in these, working in these design pools, designing video phones and rock climbing equipment and stuff like that.
Are you
And
good in
it
CAD? Are you
was,
good in AutoCAD?
yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm pretty good.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
but
we're about to become best friends.
old AutoCAD. Um, but an awful lot of it. Oh, we can have a conversation about semantics, ergonomics, and
What do you
aesthetics at
what do you
some point as well.
what do you think of my sandpaper disc holder I'm still working on?
Nice,
I gotta make some more
nice,
dividers with the
very,
grit
very
number
good,
on them, but
very, very good.
no glue, tight notches. It's all held together through pressure, it's nice. Yeah. Anyways, that's
I
podcasting
didn't
right
even.
there.
Very, very good. No, very, very good indeed. No, no, it just got me thinking about that, and the reason why I haven't touched anything like that because it was work, and I think
Yeah,
about when we had to create concept models. So there was something that I did for my studies actually were called a rock dot, which is basically was a rescue pack for mountain climbers, which was not it was meant to be as cumbersome as, if you like, mountain climbing equipment, but it kept all of the appropriate kit that they needed to, if they had got themselves injured or they were suffering from hypothermia or what have you,
yeah,
in one area, which was formed around the body. But the production side of things, sorry, the modeling side of things, after all the, nice rendering and everything is done in those days, rendering was done by hand with magic markers. That's how old that's how far back I'm going. So you had to be good at rendering with magic markers, and but then you had to create a concept model so you could take an injection molding or a vacuum mold from that, um,
sick.
and it had to be absolutely perfect. And so I'd be in spray booths and it wouldn't be right. I'd be in spray booths and have to rub it back and it wouldn't be right. And the color, the Pantone color, had to be absolutely perfect. And unlike what I found interesting about what you guys had, which was that you need to distress it, you need it to look weathered and everything. This had to be as if it was fresh, bought off
Mm,
a shelf at Costco, for
yep.
example. Um, but and it was so mundane and, I wouldn't say boring, but mundane and frustrating, that I got out of the industry. I'm not, I would never make a very, very good product designer because I don't have that kind of patience. I don't have the inclination to
Yeah.
love my work that much. But listening to you guys made me think, oh, you can make mistakes. In fact, you're meant to make mistakes. And in fact, you kind of let the paints work for you as opposed to controlling the paint. So it's absolutely, you know,
I think it's I
diamond finish.
I have that similar experiences as well. It's like, I mean, obviously I build websites for my friends, but also not just that,
Mm,
but like the creative side. The like I used to work for I've worked for multiple like professional printing companies, whether
mm,
it's my screen printing, one of the first places I worked where we did the the decals for like the Team Honda dirt bikes for like
Mm.
Supercross and motocross and things like that, where it sucks your soul out because they're like, oh, this red is one Pantone shade off of the thing. It's like it looks the
Yeah.
same. It's the
Yeah, I know,
same.
man.
Like
I know.
just saying the word Pantone makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up, and it's like
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate what we're talking about. I don't even know what it is, but I think that's the difference. It's like, and I encourage you to do whatever you want, but I'd love to see you get back into creative because it's like, oh, it's not that it's always about work, but it's like it's who's defining the requirements is the biggest change for me. It's like, oh, if my friends are defining it like and they're flexible or that
Mm.
flexibility there, it makes a huge difference versus like a corporate entity or whatever who are like rigid in their ways and they are unrelenting in
Mm.
even if it's irrational or unreasonable. Um,
We'll see. We'll
it's
see.
everything. Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. Oh, sorry. Going back to colors, yeah, I can remember working. I can remember some clients actually having the patent for their own color,
Mhm.
and so difficult back then because a lot of it wasn't digital.
Mhm.
So difficult getting it right and getting it right and getting it right, and then the process somehow alters the color.
Yep.
You know, the quality of the, or sorry, the density of the material that you print. It was, yeah, I feel you, brother. It was absolutely nightmare, and like I said, that very much put me off. Um, I'm thinking about it because one of the things that before I got into product design, I did an awful lot of. It's one of the things I did at school actually was my favorite medium is pastels. You know, pastels, and using pastels with. And I used to do an awful lot of portraits and stuff, and I haven't touched one in years, absolutely years. So that might be my way back in just in just getting back into it. But for me, it's more about, you this week in particular, you finish the working day and it's like, geez, that's hard. It's like, and then I get to the weekend and I'm exhausted. You spend the weekend recuperating, and then you realize that, well, shit. Apart from working my ass off and chatting to you once a week, I don't really have much else at the moment going on. This is the perfect opportunity for me
Yeah.
to get stuck in. So, yeah, I mean, I can excuse the
That's
noises in
why
the backgrounds, guys, but I mean,
I just keep
they're
my
all
stuff
here.
set up. Yeah. I just keep my stuff
It's
set
all.
up so that way when I do get the inclination, it's like I don't have the burden of like, okay, go find the modeling stuff. It's like, no, it's right here, it's ready to
I got
go.
it.
Just come in and do.
I got it.
Yeah.
I said to Lucy, I said to Lucy one a few years back. You know, I should get back into. I should get back into just sketching and again, and she bought me all this stuff, and it's just still sitting here, and it's cellophane. It's still. It needs to be. It needs to be broken open. So yeah, you guys are an inspiration. So you never know. Yeah, you never know. You never know. You never know. But no, I thoroughly enjoyed it, mate, and I think I really, really am. I really hope you guys keep it going because it really, really is good. I think we need to do a bit of work on the visual side of it because it is a podcast.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to think about, how do we give context to folks that are really interested in what you're talking about. But yeah, outside of that, I mean, your debut episode I thought was absolutely rocking. Anyway,
Awesome, man. Appreciate that.
that's what I've been listening to. That's what I've been listening to. Um, okay, so now some explanation about. You remember, folks, last week that I talked to Sean about finding something that we could watch together, so that we had something in common that we could talk about and analyze and etc. etc. At the time, I chose Time Bandits. Now, Time Bandits is a 1980s famous film directed by Terry Gilliam, famous of Monty Python fame. And it's a childhood favorite of mine for various reasons. And it's been remade by um, Taika Waititi and his partner in crime, which is, bear with me one second, his partner in crime, both of them together, you'll remember, actually were the creators of What We Do in the Shadows, but his partner in crime is Jermaine Clement. Um, and they've done their own take on Time Bandits. Now, Time Bandits is, to make it very, very clear, a children's story. It's a very, very, it's a charming children's story, and the TV show is a charming children's story that's a little bit um, Taika-esque in the humor's very, very dry in places and very, very
Yeah.
overtly comedic in others. Um, but it's relatively safe, I would say. It's a good yarn, it really is, and it's actually something you could actually show children.
Yeah.
And it's very, very safe. Whereas the original Time Bandits, I would suggest, is probably not appropriate for certainly young kids because there is a humor to it, albeit a very similar storyline than what's been shown now. It's a really, really perverse sense of humor. It is Python-esque. It
Yeah.
is a warped sense of humor, and it's quite scary in places. And it's very, 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 very different. And am I disappointed? No, because it's somebody else's take on something that I love. But I don't think we both watched the first two episodes. Um, we'll talk about what we thought in a second, but I think both of us reached the conclusion maybe this is not doesn't have enough meat on it for us to
Yeah.
discuss with any earnest on a weekly basis. I will carry it on
I'll
because
probably watch it too. Yeah.
I've read one or two of the reviews, the professional reviews, not the heart bleeders, but the professional reviews, and it does seem to get better and progress. But yeah, in what do you think, mate?
It's it's definitely, you can definitely tell it's a kids show. I think there is, I'm gonna watch the whole thing. I don't think it's worth actively discussing weekly, like you mentioned. There's something I kind of picked up on during the first episode that I don't want to attribute to Taika Waititi, but like hearing you talk about the original and kind of how it had like a more perverse Monty Python kind of humor, but it's also kind of for kids. It's like they've tried to do that same thing, but the formula's off to me. It's it's a very like, because there's some parts where it's like, okay, this is very kid oriented, very hokey. I use hokey, that's not as a negative, but it's like it's very safe for kids. But then it'll take a hard right turn and it'll be like it doesn't do that 80s and the 80s 90s kind of like uh um never ending story kind of like darkness, dark crystal. It doesn't do that like that kind of kid scary well. Like it's like they haven't figured out that formula of like how do you make a kid show but also make it like more intense or darker, or it's like there's just like something weird about the formula of like, oh, we want it to be entertaining to adults too, but like we kind of just miss the mark in some ways. So it just kind of comes across as like disjointed. So like the parts with
Yeah.
the kid are very good and very kid oriented, but then it gets to be like Jermaine Clement and like all that stuff, and it's like, what
Mm,
the hell is going on?
mm.
And I will be honest, this isn't a negative, but it's like I am not a big Lisa Kudrow fan. I think there's just something about the way she brings Phoebe to every character she plays and stuff. Like, or at least a lot of stuff that I've seen. There's probably other fantastic works, but it's like there's just something about, I wish they would have gone with a different actor for that role because all I see is Phoebe in
Part
there,
of
and it's
the
kind of it's weird.
part of the part of the, the refreshing take that I had when I first watched Time Bandits when I was a kid is that all of the all of the crew that have rebelled against the supreme being, um, they're all played by dwarfs, um,
Mm,
or little people. Peter Dinklage calls himself a dwarf, so I hope that is the correct term. But the point being is they're all played by dwarfs. Those roles, and they're some usual suspects in that list of you'll recognise quite a few of them. from various roles, where, if you like, they've been somewhat more they've been exploited even more. Whereas in the original film of Time Bandits, they are the stars of the along with obviously
Yeah.
Kevin, the young boy. But they are the stars of the program, and they make it for me. And it was a different take. It wasn't my heroes weren't 6 foot good looking men and women. They
Mhm.
were this ragtag crew of dwarves that were treated but like slaves by who you'll find out who this the supreme being is. And it it that in itself rocked me a little bit.
Mhm.
But like you, and then they tried their hardest to kind of replicate the individuality that that team had back in the original film, and it for me it didn't land right. But then again, I've got a point of reference,
Mhm.
so therefore I don't want to be judgmental on it, because my preference, and we're all allowed different opinions, and I respect
Yeah, yeah.
everyone's opinion. um um it didn't land with me. But I'm not
Yeah.
going to
Yeah, yeah.
knock it. I am going to watch it. And like I said, it's got some really, really good write ups. I was expecting it to be bashed particularly from reviewers of my generation. But there's a heck of a lot of people. It couldn't have landed at the right time as well, because obviously it's summer. It's
Yeah.
summer, certainly for everyone for all the school kids in the northern hemisphere at the moment. And so, yeah, yeah, I'm going to finish
I'm s
watching it, but I
I'm
don't
g
think it's not. It doesn't have enough substance, I don't think, to discuss every single week.
Yeah, it doesn't get its hooks in you. I think that's my biggest it's my criticism. That's like I'm sure it's gonna be good if I watch the whole thing, but I have
Mm,
like those first 2 episodes, there's nothing that makes me want
mm,
like if it was just whatever, I pulled it on and I probably would have watched the first episode and went, "This isn't for me. I don't have a desire to see where this goes." Like there was
yeah.
no major hook there, but I'm gonna finish it because I'm curious to see where it goes. Especially so we could talk about it when we're done to see how it compares. Since it is getting glowing reviews, but yeah, it's definitely not something that's like, "Ooh, I wonder what's gonna happen next week." It's like
Yeah. Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
watch
yeah,
it and
yeah.
see what happens. But
So, yeah, so I'm gonna keep that going. I'm gonna keep that going, but we'll just check in every now and again on that one. So in my once I'd started watching it, and I was just thinking to myself, can we make this an episode? Can we make an episode content out of this stuff? Just so happened to be on IM with again our buddy Turbo. Second shout out. He's either got to come on, or we really do need him to be like our roving reporter with bulletins every now and again. But the point being is that I was IM with him, and I was like, Sean and I are watching it at the moment. I'm not sure if it's something that we can use as a main topic of discussion. He said, okay, so you, and as I said before, an awful lot of the content that he's recommended to me on Apple TV, I've really, really enjoyed. And he said, check out Sunny. And so I very quickly sent you an IM and said, hey, had this recommendation from Turbo. Let's check out Sunny. So I've watched the first episode, and I have to
same.
say I'm absolutely loving it. It's nothing like I thought it was in the first 10 minutes of starting to watch it.
Mhm.
What about yourself?
I'm very excited to watch more. It's it does have that hook, and I know it's a different audience, and it's not just because it's for adults. I didn't go in. I went into it knowing absolutely nothing, so all I'd seen was just the Apple TV header for it. I am pleasantly surprised. It seems different than most Apple TV content. I think that's refreshing and
Hmm.
new because they do tend to stick with the sci-fi vertical. They tend to stick with the like feel good kind of comedy or feel good kind of stuff vertical that this kind of like A24 and everything that distributor name kind of brings with it doesn't seem to be their bread and butter. But I'm happy that this is there. And I think once more people catch on to it, I think I've only watched one episode, but I think it's going to be, uh, I say that when Severance is a thing, but like this seems more in the camp of Severance, maybe even more,
Yes.
like more extreme, more intense than a
Yes.
Severance. Um,
So without giving away any spoilers for those people that may want to now watch it, set it up. What would you say the premise of the season is?
it's kind of it's Rashida Jones, so that's already a huge plus, two thumbs up for
Yeah.
me already. Because I love her. Um, it's a future or an alternate future kind of backdrop. A24 that should give you a kind of a setup. Rashida Jones is in Japan. It's kind of futuristic. There's technology that doesn't exist, and you're kind of piecing together what has happened to her or things like that. And it's just kind of eerie and like you don't really know what's going on, kind of futuristic. Kind of reminds me of not quite Blade Runner, but it's very hmm.
I would say there's an element of cyberpunk in there.
Yeah, like a cyberpunk, kind of like an iRobot kind of
Yeah.
very
It's almost
very topical with
it's
like the
it's
conversations of AI and things like that.
it's in the future, but it's set in Tokyo for a start. Secondly, it's in the future, but not the distant future, so that it's
No.
relatable. It really is relatable, and it's really really good. So, what surprised me the most? I mean, if anyone looks it up or looks at a trailer, you'll know that Sunny is the name of this utility robot. Can we call it that? A utility
Yeah,
droid?
yeah.
That essentially
A home bot.
a homebot after our hero is left on her own. She's on her own, and she is left with this homebot, this all singing, all dancing utility bot, and she uncovers what she thinks is a conspiracy or a not a conspiracy, but there is
There's just
something
weird there's weird
wrong.
stuff that's happening. There's
Yeah, yeah,
something
yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
off.
And without giving it away, because I really, really am excited, and maybe we should think about actually after we've given the synopsis and how we feel about it, maybe have a spoiler section. But
Yeah.
it, the first 10 minutes of the program, I thought it's going to be quite cutesy because
Mhm.
this utility robot or this homebot is very, very cute. It's very um it's like a very bloated, cute
It
looking
looks like the robot
android.
from
Sorry,
Hitchhiker's Guide, like
but with no
the
legs.
big
Yeah. It
yeah.
looks like it looks like what's his name? Paranoid android. Is it Marvin? Marvin the paranoid android. Anyway, point being is yeah, it's very comedic looking or very cute looking with this very delightful digital face, and you get to know pretty quickly that all is not what it seems
Mm,
um, with the robot itself either. So it very, very quickly makes you realize actually this is not something else is going on here. There's something quite sinister going on here. There's an awful lot to be answered
uncomfortable
in the course of the
darkness.
season. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah. And I love that about something that is so ridiculously cute. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I really, really am, and I think it's something that you and I can pretty easily get behind.
yeah,
I mean, crikey, we're already an hour and 30 into the app, and yeah, I mean, if that becomes the thing that we come together on every week, I'll be really happy with that. So thank you, Turbo.
yeah. It better not disappoint us, or nothing, or nothing. Or we're gonna have to talk about Costco next week as well.
Yes,
I do have
yes.
a preview of what I'm going to be listening to this week in preparation for next week. I do have a little
I'll
preview
go
for
on.
that because I did pick up an album, a record, this last week.
Oh,
It is
nice.
it's a vinyl of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1980s cartoon. It's an LP.
I've got to stop. I've got to stop hanging around with you guys. You are getting me down.
I
These
didn't start
these
this until recently. And
these rat holes that I'm not going to get out of. Between you and Chris with, I don't know, vinyl art and crafts and bootleg toys, I'm gonna be broke or divorced or maybe both.
I'm just gonna run out of room. That's my biggest issue.
Okay, mate. I think we've done really well. Done really, really well. Thank you for talking to me, mate. It's been a weird old week.
Do you think it'd be a good idea to like set an because I could very easily go watch the rest of Sunny. I think there's like 6 or 7 episodes out now.
Oh, really?
Should we set a restriction on it? Say like, let's watch episodes 2 and 3 and then come back and talk about those. Like, so if the listeners our 4 listeners want to watch the first 3 episodes and come back at the same point and we can discuss and hypothesize.
I really want to get Turbo on. I know we shouldn't be organizing the pod in real time while we're casting, but I really want thinking about these recommendations that I would love if we can make 3 time zones align. I would love for us to talk about. Yeah, to answer your question, yeah, let's do a couple. Talk about it next week. But let's do a series roundup as well, because I'd love to talk to him about Dark Matter. Because I feel like I'm on my own, not on my I feel like I don't have many people that I can talk to about it. Yeah, For All Mankind as well. I'm sure he's watched that as well. There's so much stuff on Apple Plus Apple TV, that he's watched. We got to make this work.
You're just going to disappoint us if you say no.
Yeah, let's do a couple. Let's do a couple more. Okay. And let's just keep in contact throughout the week, because I would like to start being able to talk to you and talk about what actually happened during the episodes, and warning folk that if they want to, watch it, then now's the time to switch off the podcast, because we are going to be talking about the content. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and with it's another one of those shows that with well, for me, it feels like Celebration's only around the corner. It seems so relevant to be watching something like this at the moment. I'm excited, mate.
Yeah. Yes, me too. I'm excited for
another one in the bag, my friend.
Yes.
Shall we wrap it up? Thank you very much, folks. As usual, thank you for listening. Thank you in particular for listening to me rambling on about various things.
Costco.
Probably don't make much sense at all. Appreciate your time. Appreciate your friendship. Look after each other. Take care.
Thank you, friends. Reach out to a friend. Tell them you're thinking about them. Eat your vegetables. Thanks for listening. You know how to reach us. Justyellin.com. Send us an email or a voicemail, or don't. It'd be cool if you did. That'd be neat. Let us know what you think. Let us know whatever. I don't care. Something. There's times where I worry that our email's not working, but sometimes I test it and it does work. So, but yeah, thank you, everybody.
Hello. We do. Is anyone out there? Hello.
If you hear this, email me, or otherwise you didn't listen. But no, we do really appreciate the people who reach out and say like, oh, that was awesome. You guys did a good job. Or, hey, your audio's messed up. And it's like, oh, thanks. Appreciate it. But yeah, justchannel.com. Until next week, if you want to watch Sunny episodes 1 through 3 and then come back with us, that's awesome. We can hypothesize and speculate and all that fun stuff. But anyways, I'm rambling at this point. Until next week, thank you, Andy. I always have fun with this. This is always a good time. Thank you, everybody else. Eat your vegetables.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
Bye.